When Ethiopian government troops took control of the city of Mekelle last year, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed declared victory over the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front. 7 months of conflict followed, thousands have been killed, and then it all changed on Monday when the TPLF took Mekelle back. The government-appointed administration fled and then asked for a ceasefire.
We ask in the name of Tigray and all peace-loving people, the federal government, for a ceasefire based on humanity in such a way that prevents further damage so that it is possible for people to find respite and become part of the solution.
Among the most recent deaths were around 40 people killed in an airstrike last week. The army said those killed were fighters. Survivors said the bomb hit a market. Around the same time, the TPLF began its offensive to retake Mekelle, which is the capital of the Tigray region.
Mekelle is fully under the control of our forces, government forces. And the legitimately elected government of Tigray is back in control of the capital in Tigray.
When Ethiopia held elections last week, Tigray was one of 4 out of the country's 10 regions that didn't vote. The conflict began partly because the elections, due last year, were delayed. Before that, the TPLF had dominated Ethiopia's government and military for nearly 30 years, until Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed took power 3 years ago. A power struggle followed, which erupted into a civil war. The conflicts displaced nearly 2 million people in Tigray. There were widespread reports of attacks on civilians, burning of crops and looting. The UN says that's left 90% of the population in urgent need of food. It said there's already a famine and it's expected to get worse. Doctors Without Borders said 3 of its staff were killed last week. UNICEF says government troops entered its office in Mekelle on Monday and dismantled communications equipment.
We condemn any and all attacks on humanitarian workers and assets and remind again all parties of their obligations under international humanitarian law. All parties must ensure the protection of civilians and that all humanitarian assistance provided by the United Nations is provided according to humanitarian principles.
Much of the conflict has been fought in small towns and villages where rights groups say thousands of civilians have been killed. People are waiting to see if the ceasefire will bring peace and the help they desperately need. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera.